spiritual bypassing was something that was introduced to me many, many years ago. And at the time, I really had no understanding, or I had no clue about it. And I got into the initial spiritual, or I had a spiritual awakening in my 30s. And it was very, very profound for me. And at the time, I had a career where I was involved working up north for 7 years on call. And I received a lesson, or I received an education from the universe that was unlike anything else. And I was learning the insights, the information of what was going on in my physical world. And I'm like, there's got to be more to this than just working in or putting the time in and having a career. That there's got to be a way to capitalize on this and then elevate with this. So that was my initial experience with it. And I'm referring to the word spiritual bypassing because it came into effect many, many years later, that when the healing was introduced to me, I took full advantage of it. So I see something that I can see where this can go down later on, and I speak of this humbly and very well, because I found out that at one point many other past civilizations, they got taken out or they went under because of this, because of the spiritual bypassing. So I'm going to do my best here to explain this in a very, very simplistic way with this. From my understanding, there is, unfortunately, as we get older, or when I get older, or as I grew older, and when I used to look up to the people that were older, and at one point I had the understanding that a lot of people had a lot of insight. They had a lot of gifts on the inside, and there was either a regret, or there was something that wasn't expressed properly, or they wished they could share that secret with somebody. And I want to add to that there were certain people that showed me that, and I was smart enough where I saw this when I was younger, either in the form of resentment or certain other areas that from a younger age that they're like, man, if I could go back, I would have changed this, this, and this. And that was the introduction to this. So when I stepped into the healing art, and I was introduced that we are as a spiritual, we're all introduced as, I got introduced that we are as a spiritual being living this physical life here. What became very, very evident is that I was never here on my own, and I was always watched by my soul, by my spiritual guides, and we all have this, and I was being watched by the universe. It became apparent that at one point, superficially on the outside, I had attained a certain level of success. I was a commercial pilot at the time. I had my brown belt. I had a well-paying gig in between. I had a motorbike, and when I walked away from all of it, this is where I started to learn a few other things. So the spiritual bypassing was something that, when I got introduced to the healing art, I started from the bottom and worked my way up. And I really had no idea of what I was getting into, other than, universe, thank you for showing me with what you've shown me with me. It's now for me to up level and elevate in doing something else. So, and that for me at the time, that was a risky move, and I took a chance on me. And it's been the best thing that I've ever done. So I learned with the spiritual bypassing that in order for my life to improve, there was no skipping steps of growth with this. And this now became not on my terms with it, but it became terms of it with my soul and with the universe. So in order for me to evolve or to learn or to grow properly, there was many areas in my foundation that at one point the foundation on the inside had to go. I'm sharing this because this is where I found out where the other groups, other civilizations, this is where they got taken down, because the inside foundation was never strong, or the foundation was good at one point, and as the energy, or over the years, as the as a person grows, or I was growing, there's other areas where I discarded the past and I continued growing from that new level, and I continued to up level with it. And then I found out that the universe is like, no, it's not going to work like that. So even when I had my career as a commercial pilot, the universe put in front of my face that there was many areas in my life that inside of me, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, there were some areas in my life that I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucked, this was no good, and I had masked it well emotionally. So when we leave here, had I not dealt with any of that stuff, all of that emotional baggage, all those life experiences, they would have gone with me back to the other side, and I would have come back here for another lifetime going through the same crap. So that was a turning point for me, where I said, no more. I am willing to do whatever it takes here with this. And the moment I started clearing out, the moment I walked away from whatever I was doing, I cleared out as much of my physical belongings as possible. And I was moving here to Vancouver, and then I jumped into it with clearing up the mental and the emotional pillars on the inside, and that was an eye opener. That was a whole other level of maturity required for me with this. And this is where I got introduced to the soul agreements, the inside emotional turmoil, and whatever was inside of me, that either as in a resistance or all the emotional mess that, where I'm like, okay, I see where this is coming from. And the universe gave me as an ultimatum at the time, or more so as with my soul. And I had no clue about any of this, other than it was the feeling that when something showed up in front of me, I'm like, man, this doesn't sit well with me anymore. And then I would go through proper guided meditation, and I would start to clear it out. So I wound up starting with this out here on the bottom feelings of shame and guilt. And you can find this, or you can use it as a reference with the Map of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. And I think that's been one of the easiest ways of describing this. And Dr. David Hawkins, he's got an excellent book out called Power versus Force. Now, what made it very, very profound is at the time when I was doing the healing work, I was connected properly with my spiritual guides from the light. This is an absolutely essential and a critical part of this was integral with what I was doing with the healing, and because I had no idea what I was getting into, other than I took a leap of faith with the healing that was being facilitated to me with this. And as it continued to grow and up level, it was like being in this physical world, and then inside of me it was like going up and then down and up and down, and riding the mountaintops and coming down to the valleys, and then going down deeper and deeper with this. And it was, for me, it was like stepping into the cave that I had feared the most. And a big part of it for me was I had a really tough time with expressing or saying anything. And I found out is that had I skipped steps of growth of this, because I'm not just here as a physical being, but as a spiritual being, the universe has laws of this. And I found out very, very quickly, it's nice vibrating on that high energy plateau. However, all of a sudden at one point, this is where the spiritual bypassing became evident for me, is had I maintained that level at a superficial level, the universe would have showed me something as a lesson for me. What is it in my foundation that I need to either let go of, or what is in my foundation that's either ready to buckle, or what is it from my foundation that was either rotten, obsolete, or it had to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and I got humbled by the universe. I got so humbled with it. And the gift of this, as tough as it was at the time, the gift of it was it allowed me and gave me the opportunity that eventually I came to terms that I am here as not only as a physical human being, but I'm also here as a spiritual being with my soul. And I was like, man, well, universe, you've given me something here that is, I think very, very few at the time would have gone into it. And I'm trusting that everyone has an opportunity with this. Because it's an opportunity when we show up here. When I showed up here, at one point, whatever I was doing wasn't working out for me. And the universe, and more importantly, my soul is pushing me that It's nice being into the higher energies and the higher realms. However, it was my responsibility, because it wasn't my first lifetime showing up here, that I've been here for many other past lifetimes, and the job never got done. So I had to go back on the inside, and I had to clear out everything from my own childhood experiences, from any and all the interferences from the family, the culture, the religion. And as I started to clear out all this stuff energetically and emotionally, and it was to clear out the negative frequencies and the negative energies, it was like, oh my gosh, I was in a whole other level of schooling with this, with the universe. And the universe opened up other doors where I'm like, I was thinking to myself, man, like, isn't everyone aware of this? I thought that this is something that should be taught to everyone, or at least being presented to everyone, that there's another option out there, there's another opportunity with this. And I shared this because it was so profound for me. And then along the way that I found out that as cool as it was, there was a lot of growing, there was a lot of learning with it. And yeah, I was definitely humbled by the universe with this. And there are some days where I thought I was moving up, and then all of a sudden the universe would show me that, hey, Stefan, there's something there in my foundation that I need to deal with, and I would go right back down again. And it was a very, very humbling experience, and I'm using that, I'm emphasizing that, because I really, really appreciated what the universe was showing me. And as long as I learned my lessons with it, then at one point I was able to up level, and as long as my foundation, the inner core foundation, was solid, then it allowed me the opportunity to start properly building from the ground, from the bottom, and working my way up. And at one point, after several years, where my foundation was cleared out, and then it was like, wow, all of that stress and all those worries and all that type of anxiety, whatever was occupying either through my heart or on my chest or mentally and emotionally up in the way that I was thinking at the time, when I properly cleared it out, it was like, that was like a massive sigh of relief. And it's literally being in school with the universe with this. And I'd really like to see as many others, while we're physically here, being given the opportunity with this to do something with this. Because it's become very, very clear for me that the soul, when it decides to show up here, this is one key area where the soul is, in my own wording of this, is screaming for the opportunity with cleansing and clearing out any of these lower frequencies and lower vibrations, because the soul itself, it's stuck with it. So had I not dealt with it, all these energies inside of me, they would have gone back to the soul. And then the soul would have been stuck with it. And then the soul would have, when it was my time to go, I would have left. And then my soul would have said, well, that was another 100 or 200, 300, 400 times doing the same type of nonsense. And when that became clear for me, I'm like, okay, I will do whatever it takes with it. And when I cleared that energy out from me, then with my guides from the light, my spiritual guides, they started assisting my soul with cleaning up all of its stuff from the other past lifetimes. And this is what started to free up everything energetically and emotionally, and allowed my soul to start releasing its grip. And more importantly, while I'm in this physical world, it was for me to clear up whatever it was for me, and from the ancestry, and from anything that I dealt with, either from this lifetime, from the other past lifetimes. And it's been a wild ride. So I'm sharing this here to inspire others, and it's super cool now because we're in this 5D transition with this energetically. The med beds are coming out, and as cool as the med beds are, in order to properly integrate with this, to what I'm hearing with this, a person's got to person must have a certain amount of the mental and the emotional stuff inside of them cleared out before they can properly integrate using the med beds as part of the med bed protocol with this. So there. If you have any questions or concerns, if you'd like to put a comment in down below, I'd most appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, be kind with yourself and treat each other well. Enjoy the rest of your day.